Welcome, everybody. Hi, it's nice to see your smiling faces. Thank you for staying on mute for a moment. I want to connect with people, and I will do, but I want to set the scene first, and we'll play. My only fear about this is that whilst I love that more of us are coming on, that your face is going to shrink down to thumbnail size. If any of you are looking at this on an iPad, I don't know how you're going to see our faces, but maybe you can use what's the view called? Either gallery view or the other view that you can see the person who's speaking at the time, and that might make things easier. Wow, even on my big screen monitor, there's so many of you, it's gone onto another screen already. So let me just enlarge my screen here so I can see more of you. Okay, beautiful. My context for today is, I'm trying to think of a word that captures it. You know what? For those of you who missed it, Ted and I were talking for a couple of moments just before we began. And Ted said, there's been some great stuff and there's been some really challenging stuff. And I think if I was going to give anything as a context today, the shift from the words I was going to use a few moments ago with the one I used with you, Ted, and it'd be the word life. Because life is so very real. We go away to be at an event, at an intensive. We go through our stuff, we do our processing, we have ideas, we have insights, we have visions, we create plans. And then I think Mike Tyson says it very well. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So if the context for today is life, then what I want to do is make things real about the life that you've been having over the last few days and weeks since we last met. And if you can see the chat box on the side of your screen, if you have something that you'd like me to talk with you about, if you have a question, if you have something where you're stuck, if you have a vision you want to put into reality, drop a note in there, because it helps me with this many people. I can't just open the lines and talk to anybody. I might call on some of you, but I'd love it if you drop a note in there for me, and then I can actually know there's something real to talk about. And I want this to be interactive. So catch yourself. If right now you're holding back because no one else has commented yet, I don't want to be the first, I'll be the second. There's an edge for you immediately. Push yourself immediately, like, okay, let me jump in. And oh, I don't have anything to say. Great, David. I don't have anything to say. What should I ask about? No problem. Rich, can we talk? And let's see what happens. And that'll give me something to play with, because I don't want this to be a teaching piece. I'll do a couple of elements of teaching, but the teaching is complete. This is now us interacting and us connecting. So it will really help if you can open up and share in the box in the chat. All right, so I'll give you my context. I ran a 2-day mastermind, had a day off, ran an hour intensive, had a day off, and ran another 4-day intensive for the members of 4PC. And I set myself a context that I will be more energized and more alive at the end of all of that than before I began. And whilst I was a little sick, my voice, if you remember, was playing up on me. I felt more energized and more alive at the end of that experience. It's the longest teaching experience I've done, that back to back, than ever before. So life really can be created from the inside out if you set yourself that intention. And that's what I want to talk about today. Both the ins and outs and the ups and downs, and how do we create our life anyway? And my favorite, my most powerful example of this is my wife, Monique. Monique got a diagnosis of a desmoid tumor. And she has a master's degree in spiritual psychology. She used all of the tools that she has, and she literally dialogued with the tumor, talked to it. And it said to her, this is your moment to free yourself, free your expression, don't hold back. And it's the reason that her album was released this year, 3rd album, and her show came out. She decided to live life fully. And we've had the 2nd MRI in a row where the tumor is shrinking. Monique and I did a little video yesterday. Some of you might be on this series where we actually, I see some nods, where we were interviewing each other and talking. It was really powerful. So let me have a look. What have you got to say to me? And let's see how we play. David says, my potential clients go to seminars and have a table. I'd like to maximize my experience. David, I don't know, you're going to have to explain what that means. So add something else to the mix so I know more about what that means. Aaron, you say I was terrified by the possibility that I created at the intensive. I'm leaning into that and creating from that place. Aaron, will you unmute?
Yep. Hey, Rich.
Okay, now I can see you. Give a wave so people can see you, because otherwise, great. There's so many faces here. Yeah, we call that a possibility hangover. So you get your clients to dream bigger than they've ever dreamed, and they feel great. And then the next morning they wake up and they think, holy shit, what did I say I was going to do? It felt so inspiring yesterday. Now there's someone else in the world who knows my big dream. And that's a lot to hold. Before it was just me. So if I didn't work on it, nobody knew. And now it's out there. So how can I support you, Aaron?
Yeah. I am creating from that place. So since the intensive, I've enrolled 2 one-on-one clients and then 3 people for a group. So that feels really good.
Great. Just quickly, how did you do that? You enrolled 5 people, 2 one-on-one and 3 for a group. How did you do that?
Just the same, just asking. I asked a lot of people and I just followed the process.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple, but it's not easy. I like your smile because it's like, I just spoke to a few people. It's simple. It doesn't mean it's easy. Do you know how many no's you collected in order to get those 5 yeses?
Yeah, probably at least 10.
All right. So that's beautiful for you guys to see. Yes lives in the land of no, in Steve Chandler's words. Thank you for taking a risk. I acknowledge you for taking a risk. That's why the yeses came. All right. So let's play. How can I support you in this moment, Aaron? And I can see you've got a lot of energy. Are you on a bouncy chair?
Yeah, I'm on my bouncy ball. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Energy, right?
So, Rich, I want 2 more for the group program, and then 2 more one-on-one clients.
All right, let's play. I can get you any client. How can I help you? What do you know? I mean, you're masterful at this. Right now you've got a track record of just get 10 no's and you get 5 yeses. So the game is ahead of you.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to enroll someone that scares me. That's that I view as above me. And probably at a higher rate too. Good.
I was going to say, if you're getting 5 yeses for 10 no's, 1 in 2 yes, you're either charging too little or you're not scaring yourself enough with the kind of people you're working with. Because that's actually a high turnaround rate. It's pretty amazing. You're getting that many people signing up. So yeah, time to play a game of charging a different rate or speaking to someone who scares you a little bit.
Okay. Yep. I just reached out to one today that scared me to see if he's open for a chat.
So you made an invitation?
Yeah.
Okay, make that real for me. How did you make the invitation?
I did it on Facebook Messenger.
And what did you say?
I said, hey, I was afraid to reach out to you. I really am inspired every time I see you up to something new. And I'm doing a group men's coaching program that I think could really benefit you. Would you be open to a chat about that?
Great. Can I share with you some thoughts that come up when I hear that?
Yeah, please.
It can work. Once in a while that can work. And it can also be a real turn off in this day and age because we have so much stuff bombarding us saying, come and work with me, come and do my thing, come on. So for me, again, this is not the truth and it's not the truth for that guy. I don't know who this guy is. But for me, that's a turn off. I get a lot of those things of someone saying, hey, you should work with me. Here's what I find really works. Go back to the prosperous coach approach. You went straight to invite before connect. Only connect. Start with connect. Give me a first name for this guy.
John.
Build a relationship. Hey, John, I saw the post you wrote on Facebook yesterday. Here's why it moved me. Hey, John, after I read your post on Facebook, I looked at your website and I'm impressed with these 3 specific things I see your company's up to right now. And build a connection over time. Just let him know over time what you see in him, why you admire him. You guys might have noticed, if any of you said to me at the intensive, that was great, Rich, I really love what you did. I almost always say, would you make that real for me? Would you mind being specific? Give me one specific thing that moved you. Because then it lands in my body. Otherwise, it's just like, well, that was great. It's like, oh, okay, it's not. So you say, I admire you, you inspire me. You got to be specific. So he goes, wow, I inspired him because I wrote that piece. I inspire him because I've got this company. I inspire him because I talk about this mission. And then it feels real. So I'd leave him for now. That energy's out there. I'd actually do a little energetic cut of the ties. Just let it go yourself and make a note in your calendar. In 3 months' time, reconnect. But this time, reconnect from the place of, hey, I saw the post you just wrote at the start of the year. I've been doing that, and letting know something really specific and build a relationship.
Okay, got it.
And the other thing is, don't forget, who do you know? It's an amazing tool from the book. You think he's a dream client, but the moment you say, I'd love you to join my men's program, he's like, whoa, it feels too much. Like, I don't even know you. Hey, John, I've read what you're up to. I see what you do. Very inspiring what you're up to. It strikes me that you might know the kind of men that love to work with me. If you have a moment, would you let me know, do you know someone? And rather than generic, who do you know one man who ... And then you give him a space. And you describe, by the way, you describe him to himself. And if he's looking for that, he'll go, oh my God, yeah, that's me. And if he's not, he'll go, let me think about that. Or he'll go, oh my God, it's my friend, Fred. Who do you know is a powerful tool?
Got it. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
All right, I'm going to skim through. Let's see here. Ricky. Hi, Ricky. Give me a wave so I can see who you are and turn your mic on.
Hey, Rich.
Okay, it must be my other screen. Oh, there you go. Great.
There.
Yeah, there are so many of you now. It goes into 2 screens. You wrote, my coaching is very deep, maybe even too deep. I'm concerned it might be too deep for the type of clients I want to work with, those who take action, and I'm finding myself getting stuck and not knowing quite how to connect with them. Tell me more about that. I love deep coaching. So how does it...
Yeah. So maybe I should explain. So my coaching goes pretty deep, pretty quick a lot of times. And I found myself, and by the way, since we spoke at the intensive, our short conversations were really, really changing, big time, big changes, lots of action. I realized we've closed our business. We've opened a social enterprise, or we're opening a social enterprise. We've completely transformed things. 15 days after the intensive, we waited your 14-day mark, like you said. And we realized that, or I realized that the leaders I want to work with are leading powerful organizations that are making change. I don't want to help a CEO necessarily just create more space so they can go on a vacation. I want to work with people who are creating impact and change in the world. The struggle I'm having is that this is new territory for me. So getting connected to these individuals has been a challenge. And everything you just said to Aaron was great. And some of it I've been doing, looking them up, learning about them, reading about their stuff, mentioning specific things when I reach out. I'm just finding myself struggling how to, first of all...
You need a different tool, Ricky. You need a different tool. The tool I'd recommend you use is what I call a research project.
Right, yeah, I've been starting that too. I've been doing that one as well. Yeah.
Tell me about your research project. Like if I say, what do you do? One of the best ways to introduce yourself is, well, funny you should ask, I'm writing a book, I'm writing a white paper, or I've got a research project right now. How would you respond?
Right. So I would say I'm doing a research project. I've recently opened a social enterprise that's designed to help transform leaders who are leading social impact businesses. So I'm researching leaders in that area to better understand their struggles and how they got to where they are in their organizations.
Okay, let me play with you. Tell me right now, what are the 3 top problems that founders of social impact businesses deal with on a daily, yearly basis?
I mean, the truthful answer is I'm not entirely sure, but the answer from my experience is that sometimes they're getting bored. They're not creating the impact they want to create, so they're finding themselves bored in their work. They're not deeply connecting in their relationships. So again, they're finding relationships maybe boring because they're not able to deeply connect. And they've just lost the passion or the drive that they once had for their mission and their work that they're doing.
Okay, let me play with you. Let me give you this as a possible way. So I get off this call and someone says, what were you doing just now? And I say, well, I was speaking to Ricky. And Ricky works with leaders in social impact businesses. And he works with them on the 3 biggest challenges that any leader of a social impact business finds. Number 1 is that they went into that business because they had a big mission. They wanted to make a big difference to the planet. And after time, because of all the challenges of getting funding, getting donors, all the things they have to do, whatever it is, they realize that their impact is much lower than they wanted it to be. And that's frustrating. And that brings up some sense of, let me pause there, I don't want to say too much. That's really frustrating to them. The second thing is, because their impact isn't as much as they thought it would be or hoped it would be in the time that they've been working, their passion and their drive goes down. And because their passion and their drive goes down, their impact goes down too. It's reinforcing. And then I'd pause and they'd say, well, what's the third? What's the third problem, the third challenge that these social impact business owners have? And I'd say, well, the third, that's always very specific to each founder. And if you want to know more about that, you need to get in a conversation with Ricky because he would draw that out of you.
Right.
So do you guys hear that it's a beautiful way, whatever you're up to, like think of the 3 biggest challenges with the leaders you work with, the organizations you work with, but you only tell the top 2. And then when they say, what's the third? Oh, well, I'd have to sit down with you, like work out, I'm happy to do that. We can find out what it is for you. It's very intriguing.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I'd start with something like that. Doesn't matter for now if you're not quite right in those 2. My sense is you are. Impact and passion and drive, they are mutually reinforcing. They either go up together or down together.
Yeah. So I think you got it there because I think the challenge has been that I've been super honest with them. So I've been telling them what I do, and I help people with those first 2, but then I tell them the third, and sometimes I think they're like, well, I don't really want that. So, and that's when they say, I'm okay, actually, I don't need that right now or whatever. So I think you're right there. I think maybe that's how I avoid going deep in the connection and save that for the experience.
Yeah. And remember, telling people what you do isn't what they want to hear.
Right.
Talk about themselves. Talk about them, guys, not about you, not about your process or your system. Nobody cares. They want to hear about themselves. The first page of your website should talk about the people you work with, like the struggles they have. I should get on your website at some point, Ricky, and it says, are you a social entrepreneur who wants to make a massive impact, who has a big mission, and yet months or even years after you began, you've noticed your impact, you're frustrated that your impact isn't as big as it used to be or you hoped it would be. And so your passion and your drive has gone down. And now it's even more frustrating because there's mutual reinforcing loop that as one goes down, so does the other. We should talk.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thanks. That's beautiful.
Thanks,
Ricky. And I love what you're up to, by the way. That's an awesome business that you're in.
Thank you.
Great to have you making that kind of difference.
Thank you. Thanks for the help.
Okay, cool. Don't forget, guys, to type your stuff into the chat box. I'm looking at this. Philippe, I'm coming up with different fees based on how much I think people can afford versus how much I want to ask for. Philippe, give me a wave so I can see where you are on this big Hollywood squares. Great. Hey, man.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. I'm good. I was looking forward to speaking to you, actually. I'm glad you posted there. So, yeah. Did you ever see that video? Oh, what's that guy's name? The Stop It video. You know the one I mean?
Stop it, no.
Okay, it's a classic. If one of you can find it and post the link to the YouTube.
Yeah.
That'd be great. A woman goes to a psychologist and tells her about all his problems. And every time she says another problem, he just says, stop it. So don't do that. Don't base your fees on how much you think people can afford. Because you've got no clue. I've had millionaires, literally, more than one occasion, tell me they can't afford to work with me.
Yeah.
And other people go out and do whatever it took to create money to work with me. I don't look for people who have resources. I look for people who are resourceful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's easy. Just stop it. Okay, good. Got it. I'll write that down.
And look, Philippe, this is what makes it easier. It's easier to play the game I'm talking about when you don't need the money.
Yeah.
When you need a client, you can't help it. You get in your head and you're trying to make a fee that you know they can afford.
Yeah.
But when you don't need a client, it's okay to make up a number. And make up a number that's going to draw out of them a sense of commitment, that's going to have them really playful out. That's why you do it. My earlier coach, Steve Hardizane, charges $150,000 a year. I think these days he charges about $1 million a year, actually. But at the time when I was paying him, that's how much he charged. And he didn't need the money. He was independently wealthy 9 years ago when I worked with him. His son, at 21 years old, said, "Dad, I see the impact you make in the world with your clients. Would you coach me?" He said, "Yeah, I will, son. It costs you $150,000. I love that because I'm the guy who wishes I could do that with my kids, but I think I'd probably do it at no charge. You know, and I admire him, and his son went out and did what it took and came back halfway through and said, "Dad, I've got half the money and this is really hard." And he said, "I know, son." And he went away and did what it took, and he hired his dad as his coach. You don't need the money, so you can call out of people the kind of commitment that will have them be a stand for creating the kind of impact that you know that you want to have and they will have.
Yeah. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, brother. I had to feel that, so I really feel that as I say that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I ask you guys, I can hear people breathing in the background. Don't stop breathing, but do mute yourselves, please, because there's so many of us. I can't tell who's unmuted. Oh, that's great. Thanks. Is it Jomar? Is that how I pronounce your name? Oh, hey, Jomar. Give us a wave. Yeah, great. I have this individual I'm compelled to reach out to. He comes from an extremely wealthy family, and it honestly intimidates me. But I know I want to reach out because reaching out is beyond my edge. Great. I'm committed to living beyond my edge. My fear is I'm driven more towards the wealth than the individual. I don't think that's true, but I won't know for sure until I reach out. Yep, that's true. What more do you need?
I feel like you actually answered my question based off of your time with Philippe and Aaron. So
let me tell you a couple of stories then. One is at one of my intensives a few years ago, I don't know if anyone here was in the room at the time, someone put his hand up and said, "I want to coach someone who's a billionaire." And it was a fun experience because I said, "Tell me more." And he told me some more. He was at the back of the room holding a mic and I was at the front on stage. It's just me on stage. And he told me a bit more. And I said, "Uh-huh." And he went, "Well, I suppose I'm holding back because I have these fears." And I said, "Mm-hmm." And then he said some more. And I said, "Uh-huh." And he said some more. And he basically coached himself for about 4.5 minutes. Each time, all I said was, "Mm-hmm, uh-huh, yeah, mm-hmm." And at the end, he went, "Oh, so I suppose all I need to do is just reach out to me really vulnerable and authentic and tell him why I can really serve him and what I see." He went, "Thank you." And everyone applauded. And there's one woman right down the front who I could hear because she was at the front row went, "But he didn't do anything," talking about me. And I said, "Yeah, well, that's the power of coaching. Silence can be very powerful, actually." To close the loop on that guy, he went to see this billionaire and he enrolled him as a client. So, and here's the other story. I had a ultra high net worth client once was from the family of billionaires. And we don't know this, right? We make assumptions. So wouldn't it be great if my mum or my dad was a billionaire? You know what? It's actually very, very challenging for many people who grow up in the families of ultra high net worth individuals. They're often raised by maids and workers who don't have any time for them. They have to have bodyguards 24/7. They don't ever spend much time with their mum and dad. They never know if somebody really wants to be their friend because you want my money. There's all sorts of complexities that go with that. And you could say, yeah, quality problem. I'll take all that for $1 billion in my bank account, but it's still challenging nevertheless. So if you start to talk to these ultra high net worth individuals, you'll see stuff going on that they don't often share with other people. So get to know this person and really get to find out what's going on. I think that's great. You may be able to really serve them. Thanks, Gemma. Rich. Daniel Lindblom. Daniel, give me a wave so I can see where you are. Oh, Danielle, is that? Yeah, thanks. I didn't read it. I'm afraid that all coaching is deep, and that's not what I want right now. I want to play with making my coaching my own and adding fun and lightness. I love it. I love it. What's the problem?
I don't know. And I love the energy that you're bringing today. Like, I'm totally matching that. It's really refreshing. I feel like the intensive was so deep. And the coaching that I've experienced since then has also been so deep. And I think I'm in a permanent hangover So I'm trying to find ways to connect with fun people and do light things.
That's great. Look, it's in the title. It's called an intensive for a reason.
Yeah.
And there are some of them. We've had one of my clients, Pam Dibbs, come on stage and do stand-up comedy. And so we play with different ways. We've had magicians, we've had world-class jugglers on the stage. This time we wanted to go deep into the coaching. Look, it must be about 10 or 11 years ago. I was doing a coach training and we did some work on, what do you call it? The shadow work. And your shadow is those parts of you that you don't want to look at. And for me, I owned that, like, the shadow, the part of me I don't want to look at is exemplified by, I forgot his name now, Austin Powers. Like the British guy with bad teeth who thinks he's good with women, but actually everyone's really laughing at him. Like that, if you thought of me that way, that'd be horrible. And so for a year, I put a picture of Austin Powers with a terrible smile and the bad teeth on my laptop. So every time I coached a client, Austin Powers was there and I would channel Austin Powers. What would he do? What would he say? As a way to go from where I was really serious and really deep to be able to bring the other side of that. So I love that you want to play with levity and fun. I've coached clients in all sorts of places to challenge their thinking. This one sounds serious because I coached a client in a graveyard once, but it was done with a sense of fun. So you really get to play with how you coach.
Yeah, since writing that question or typing that question, I started writing down names of fun people. Like reach out, connect with some people that just have that kind of spirit about them and rejuvenate myself that way.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks, Danielle.
Thanks.
Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Hello. Give a wave so everyone else can see who you are.
1 second. Hi.
Hey, Rebecca.
Do you want me to put my ear thing?
Yeah. Rebecca wrote, I left the intensive more aware than ever how stuck I am in my need to be liked.
Wait. I can't hear what you're saying. Okay.
Don't worry. I'm just telling them what you wrote.
Oh, okay.
Stuck in your need to be liked by my clients and also people who are potential clients. Who else knows that one? Raise a hand if you get stuck in that thing, like that need to be liked. Yeah, great. You're not alone. And my hand was up too. So you're not alone.
Your hand should not be up. You're the poster child for not needing to be liked. That's where I mean, watching.
Because I have to work at it. It's because I have to work at it. You know, you see a side of it, but I'm very human. You know, the worst part for me around this is Facebook, because you literally see the likes. It's what they've called.
Right.
And I'll write an article that's taken me days to create, and I'll post it on Facebook, and then I'll get lots of great comments and likes, and one person will say something negative, and I'll shut down for days because it impacts me so much. Because I'm human, I want to be liked. So it's very human, Rebecca. You know, throughout most of human history, if somebody in your village didn't like you, it could end in your death.
Right.
So we carry this very human part of human nature that we want to be liked. So how do I get you past that? What are you up to that I can support you with?
Well, you know, I had a little heads up that I was maybe going to get a coaching opportunity. So I have been in agony over how to maximize this opportunity. And I have all kinds of things going on, but as I look at it, everything comes back to I want to be deeper in my coaching. I want to increase my pipeline. I now have 2 high impact clients, but I've gone slow to go slow. I have not gone slow to go fast. This is 2 years. And part of it is I don't want to make people feel awkward when I am prospecting and inviting and, you know.
Okay, I got to pick you up on your language. Pipeline and prospecting are 2 words I don't have in my vocabulary.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying I want to speed it up a little bit.
So it's important. Language is important.
Okay.
I know Rebecca. She was also in the salon, and so one thing I know about you, Rebecca, is that you do want to have extraordinary clients, and you don't need a client tomorrow. So you really can filter for the right kind of people for dream clients. So you don't need to think.
And I have been, and I have 2 dream clients.
So let's slow this all down. Give me the first name of those 2 people.
Harry
Harry
and Grady.
So the next time you have a session with Harry and you have a really great session and the session is complete, you can say, Harry, do you have a couple of minutes now that we're complete? I want to ask you a question that's different to your coaching. If you don't have time now, we can do it at another time. But either then or the next time, say, look, Harry, I made a very conscious decision. I want to grow my business by word of mouth and referral only. I don't want to do internet marketing. I don't want all the social media stuff. I want extraordinary people like you to work with, but we can make a massive...
So I already did this once. Like we're now in our second year of coaching. And he didn't come forth with anyone. He doesn't want anybody to know he's being coached.
Sometimes that happens. How about with Grady? Have you done this with Grady?
I just started with him, and I think he will be somebody that will be a great person that will say, I've got this great thing going. I want to share it with you. You know, I found this wonderful person, but it's really early in the process. I don't want to rush him.
Great. So I love that. Sometimes we get very high performing clients who want it kept quiet. And sometimes it's a client who's new and it's too early to ask for referrals. The one thing I might start doing though, Rebecca, is when you sign a new client and they begin with you, to say, hey, as you set the agreements for how you work together, let them know, by the way, before we even begin, I want to let you know, I'm really looking forward to working together, and I built my business the way that we met, by one conversation at a time. And so word of mouth and referral is the highest standard ever to have a business. My request of you is, if there's a moment when you've had a real great impact, or you see someone who you think could really be served by me, you have a conversation with me. And once in a while, I might come to you and say, hey, we've been working together for a while. Is there someone you know who, if I spent some time with, I could serve, that you know that would be really great as a gift for them? And you put that into your agreements right at the beginning, so that they're ready for it when it comes. So let me ask you a different question, Rebecca.
Okay.
How did you get Harry as a client?
He and his wife were friends, and I knew he was the CEO of a company, and he at dinner one night was talking about the struggles he was having. So, you know, in a social situation, I said, I'd love to have a coffee with you tomorrow and just talk about if there's some way I might help you with that. And of course, he was thinking I was going to help him with his problem employees.
Yeah.
And as we started to talk, I said, you know, this really comes down to you and how you handle those folks. So would you like some help with that?
Beautiful.
And he said, yeah, I really would.
That's beautiful. That's textbook. And there's a level of trust in there that's clearly implied by the way you guys got it so quickly. So that's beautiful. How'd you get Grady as a client?
Well, he was one of my interviewees for my book that is my research project, as you know.
So I do, but let's tell other people. Rebecca took on a research project to go off. And what was the research project for you, Rebecca?
Well, Rich asked me if I would consider, you know, if that was an idea for me. And I said, well, actually, I have one that has been backburnered for 10 years. It's a book I have been doing research for called Success Beyond Measure. And it is it's a legacy project for me. I would like to leave the world with wisdom from people who have created success that only they can measure because it's internal. And it's success that they find very fulfilling and that makes them happy. They're happy and successful, not just big house, car, title. And so now, since Rich and I talked, I've interviewed 29 people. And Grady's my only one so far, because as Rich said at the intensive, this can't be bait and switch. You have to be truly in integrity when you're saying, I'm doing research because I want to gather your wisdom and your stories and hear about you.
So
but I'll tell you,
it's a beautiful story. Let me just capture some of the insights from that.
Okay.
I love the title, Success Beyond Measure, because most of the time we're trying to measure success, which is about the numbers, the money, the bottom line. And success beyond measure is the success and the happiness. And I love that. It's a beautiful title. I love that you interviewed 29 people. I love that it led to a client too. There's a place right now. Is the book ready to come out into the world?
Hell no, it's stuck. You know, if I start focusing on the book, I'll lose my focus on building my high impact clients. So I've just been continuing to connect and interview people, which I love. It is so much fun. And
So
I don't know.
you might push an edge right now, and which is, it looks something like this, because it's not a bait and switch for you. You're not looking for dozens of clients. You want one more client right now.
No, I want 4 more.
No, you don't. This is really important. You guys really have to get this. You can only ever think in singular, not plural. It's not like
One
it's
more.
marketing where you're
Okay.
trying to get 57,000 signups to your email list. The distinction of singular versus plural. Because otherwise, if Rebecca's speaking to me and trying to enroll me, but I'm only one of 4 that she wants, her attention's not even on me.
Okay, I get it.
You can say I have 4 spaces. I'd put a piece of paper on the wall that has 4 boxes on it that you're going to fill in with the 4 names. I would do that. That's energetically calling in 4 clients. But you only have 1 space for 1 client right now. And that's always the language you must use. I have space for 1 client. Because then you really are putting your attention on that one person. So
Okay.
you have space for 1 client right now. And it's okay to go back to some of those people and say, hey, so here's one thing you might do, Rebecca. I think for you, there's something like this. Creating space once or twice a month where you're going to coach the kind of high impact individuals who you love to work with. The people who've had a lot of success, but their happiness is missing, or the people who've had a lot of success and are very happy and are looking for something beyond that.
Right.
And when people say, what are you up to? You say, well, right now I have this great project. Twice a month, I create a space for a pro bono coaching session with a high impact leader who's had a lot of success, but the happiness is missing. Or a high impact leader with a lot of success and happiness, but they're looking for what's even beyond that. And you can go out to people and say, hey, who do you know who might fit that category, those criteria? You can go back to those 29 people and say, hey, since I started the research project, the book's now 60% finished. And what's turned out is that I've actually got a project that's even more exciting than the book. I do 1 or 2 sessions a month. And I'm scheduling now for December and January. Do you know someone who might like to have one of these sessions? I might even offer only 1 spot a month. It's the first Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. If you get more people, you can fill more spots. But I would start really slow offering some spots like that. You've got to describe your dream clients in that. Go ahead.
You'll be proud of me. Yesterday I thought, I knew you were going to suggest I start to go back to people. So I went back through my whole list. I have a little grid that tells all about them. And I found 6 that I felt like would be interested in having a session with me. So I reached out to all 6 of them, and I've already heard from 2 that they said, hell yes, I want a complimentary session with you. So that felt great. And so, but there are some that are not even remotely interested in that. So that's what I could do with those folks.
Yeah.
That's great.
Rebecca, it's funny hearing you say that, because my clients often say this to me. I have a question, and after being coached by me for a while, they say, what would Rich say? And then they hear my voice in their head. And
I do it all the time.
And what's funny is they'll come to me and it's like, that guy in their head is either he's got the same advice I'd have said, or he's got even better advice because it's actually filtered through who they are. And that's what you begin to have. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, thank you.
All right, gang, let me scroll through the list and see what else I've got here. Monique in Amsterdam. Hey, Monique. Hey. I hadn't offered coaching packages before the RLI. Now my current clients are wondering what the benefit is of a package compared to paying every time they have an appointment. I've mentioned commitment, but I'm struggling to come up with more positive reasons. Tell me, Monique, do you have a coach?
Not yet, no.
Have you ever had a coach?
No.
So
I've done coaching training.
Yeah. It's really difficult to sell this thing called coaching if we've not experienced it that way ourselves. Because I could give you the reasons why, for me, I would invest in someone like I mentioned earlier, Steve Hardizan. It's $150,000, and I had to fly every 2 weeks to Phoenix and Arizona for my coaching sessions. I can tell you why I bring that level of commitment when I'm paying somebody, but that would just be me telling you, and I could give you a list. But for you right now to invest in it doesn't matter whether it's a one-on-one coach or being coached in a group. If you've invested in that yourself, so you get it, and if it's hard for you to do that right now, that's great. Then you can, it's the story I started my book with. I didn't have the money to start with Steve Chandler. It took me a year to create the money to work with him. Then you know what they're going through. Otherwise, right now, I could give you the concepts of that, and it will resonate intellectually, but you got to feel it in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll pause there. It's actually, you know, coaching is an apprenticeship style profession. You need to spend time with other coaches, working with them, and, you know, lots over the years. So that's the piece I give you right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Hey, thanks for that. Annalise, hello. Give a wave so everyone can see where you are. So you say, for the first time I felt a client did not like my coaching. Has anyone had an experience where their client did, or a potential client did not like their coaching and made it very clear, and that was ended right there? I just want Annalise to see this, so keep your hands up. Okay.
Oh yeah, I have.
Not alone. So, how can I support you?
It's the first time that happens. I mean, obviously I had chemistry session, discovery session that, you know, the person that didn't sign up to my program, my coaching, but it's the first time that someone basically, it just felt really personal. It just, like she said, oh, sorry, my computer is, like she had a Mac, the battery are going off and I've got to go. And I'm like, what do you mean? We're just in the middle of it. And she just, you know, and I was like, okay. And then I wrote to her and, you know, she didn't come back to me. And the thing is...
Annalise, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were dating?
Blimey, Rich. 20 years ago.
Okay. Well,
actually, no, I had a date. I had a secret date.
So you may remember from your dating days that sometimes it's chemistry. You can go on an online dating site and go, oh my God, they look amazing. Your friends can say, I got to set you up with this guy. He's incredible. And you get in a room and in 10 seconds, you're just like, no way. You're hiring somebody for your business and on paper they sound incredible. And they walk in the room and after 10 seconds of talking to them, like your body says, and there's no way I'm hiring you. I don't care all the criteria that you meet. It's chemistry. You just said it. It's not personal. And by the way, I've never written this article. I've been drafting it for years. I've got to get it out there in the world. I wrote an article called I Hate You, Rich. And it's about why your clients need to say that more often. So I love it that someone doesn't like your coaching. You want to create that more often. Now this happened just because of chemistry. I'm challenging you. That you can't, that's not personal. That's just, that was her thing. Maybe you reminded of her mother. Like maybe you're so successful that she's jealous of you. Like who knows? There's so many things that one's out of your control. I'm challenging you to a higher level. If you're not getting that often enough, it's time for you to up your game, Annalise. I know Annalise too. It's time to up your game and really be challenging your clients. I want to have you email me in a few months saying, oh my God, my clients say I hate you, Annalise, on a regular basis.
But the thing is, Rich, she was introduced to me by, I'm part of a network of coaches that coaches social entrepreneurs. And I mean, and basically the founder of this network, you know, introduced me to this woman and said, you know, she's doing a lot of work with unprivileged children. And, you know, this guy said, oh, she's amazing. Annalise is top coach. She coaches in the city and she's doing this because, you know, she's very passionate about social entrepreneurs, but she's very high level and blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, like I go there and she just cuts it. And I just feel also towards this guy, I feel like I kind of feel I haven't performed somehow.
So I get it. It's a very human reaction you've got. And you're making it all up. Like I say, you might just remind her of her mother, and there's no way she could ever be your client, despite how amazing you are. Your track record as an incredible coach didn't change because she got off the call quickly. And if you want to close the loop with that guy, you can get back to that guy and say, hey, just want to let you know, showed up, I was ready to really coach her powerfully. I got a sense the chemistry wasn't right because she completed really quickly. but I want to let you know if she wants to come back, I will really serve her powerfully. If I can support you in any other way, I'm here for you. And you can close the loop and feel good about it.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, Annalise.
Makes perfect sense, as usual.
David Taylor Klaus. Hi, David. Hey, I like that you have your logo behind you. David, you say, how do I balance what was initiated before the RLA with the possibility I created through the RLA? Tell me more. Give me context.
There are a number of folks that I've gone through the early stages of the Prosperous Coach method, right? I've been through the Connect, Invite, Create before when I was charging 20 grand for a year. So I'm shifting that to 50 grand a year. These folks that I'm particularly talking about are folks that have come in through either referrals from existing or past clients or trusted advisors, folks that have referred me to them. So they have some concept of what I charge. Mm-hmm. So if I come in and propose something that's categorically higher, I sort of have this sense that taking on clients at the old rate gets in the way of me stepping into getting enough no's to get the yeses at the new rate. But these are still folks that I want to serve. So how do I dance with that?
Here's a way to play. One, you're making that all up.
Yeah, everything.
They might be thrilled. Wow, you're now a $50,000 a year coach. That speaks to the impact you have in the world. That speaks to who you are, the difference that you make. I'm more interested now than before. There are less $50,000 coaches on the planet. You're exactly who I want to work with. So that's a possibility for some of those people. Here's another possibility. Create a small group coaching program for 5 high-level leaders, the kind of people I know you work with, at 10 or 11, let's call it 11,000. I never like to have nice round numbers. They start to divide it by the number of hours. You can work with me for $11,000 in a small group of 5 other really high-impact leaders. David, at that rate, you'd have $55,000 for the group for the same kind of time you spend with a one-on-one client at 50 grand. So, and it gives them a way to come in at far less, at 11 grand. So now what you want to have is a menu, David. You can be like Steve Hardisand, just your one number and that's it. And you can have a menu. And what you need on your menu, David, is $1,000 cheeseburger. Have you heard me tell that story?
Yeah, and the program you described when you did that.
Yeah.
Was it $250,000 starting in Fiji?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need it. I got to realize I talked to David about that in a small group. Some of you weren't there. Does anyone not know the story about the $1,000 cheeseburger? All right, let me just give context. There's a restaurant I go to on the Big Island in Hawaii sometimes, just a little restaurant on the beach, nothing special. But on the menu, there's a $1,000 cheeseburger. And I asked the guy once, the restaurant owner, has anyone ever bought that? 3 times, he said, over the last 10 years. Someone wants to propose to their girlfriend and they want to do something really unique and tell a story. Well, it's valuable for all of us to have a $1,000 cheeseburger on our menu, something so that everything else seems cheap. For me, the example David was talking about, I have something I call the Fiji Project. My Fiji Project is where I work with a friend of mine and we take a couple who are in a relationship who high impact leaders, people who make a difference in the world. We take them on this journey for an entire year. We meet for 4 days in Fiji and the 2 of us work with them. We do coaching, we do body work and all sorts of stuff with them. We meet again 90 days later and we meet this time in the south of France. We do some more work with them. We meet again 90 days later in Iceland. And 90 days after that, we meet back here in Santa Monica. It's a $250,000 agreement. It's something very unique. We don't offer it very often. We don't mention it to people very often, but it's there. We know we have something up here. And so everything else becomes cheap after that. And you get to create whatever you like to be your $1,000 cheeseburger. And then everything else seems cheap. So David's worried about his $50,000. Well, I've given him a way to have something for 11 grand for a small group. And sometimes small groups, I love leading small groups these days. I really love working with small groups. And it gives people a way to experience me. And every time I've run a small group, 1 or 2 of them come and do something else with me. How's that, David?
Yeah, it takes a lot of the anxiety out of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Let me do some hand raising right now. Who left the intensive with a sense of real possibility and openness, like, ooh, well, there's all sorts of possibilities ahead of me? Who woke up the next morning with a possibility hangover? There are all sorts of possibilities ahead of me, but holy shit, now what am I going to do? And I feel a sense of overwhelm. Who left the intensive and woke up the next morning or the next couple of days later with a vulnerability hangover? Oh my God, I shared stuff with people. Like I'm mortified now I shared that stuff, my vulnerabilities or whatever it was. Who left the intensive and in the time since then and now has signed one or more new clients? Who left the intensive, and that's great by the way, who left the intensive and since the intensive has collected, I'm talking about collecting no's, so I'm going to give some numbers. Who's got at least one no since the time we met together? Who's had 5 or more no's since the time we met? Good job. Anyone had 10 or more no's? Great, I have to swap from one screen to another. Okay, your mission, you guys, is to get more no's. You've got to speak to Aaron. That's the mission. Right? You're not getting enough no's right now. I got a lovely, I forget it was a text or an email from someone who's at the intensive who said, you know what, Rich, what impacted me the most was when you shared with us, I get more no's than any of you. He said, I'd never crossed my mind. I have this vision of who you are and why you have success. And when you said that, it really impacted me. And it's true. But I had to build my capacity to feel a no. You know, at 100 grand for a one-on-one client, I can serve people for hours and even weeks and months. So I'm really serving them, just giving them value, not trying to say, let's start working together now. But there'll come a moment when I'm human, right? And I start to think, oh, this is getting real now. Like they're going to be a client, I can just tell. And at some point, somebody will say, you know what, I'm complete. I've got everything I needed, thank you. And I'm human, it's like, that's hard, because it's 100 grand. 100 grand is really valuable to me. And it looks like it's coming in and suddenly it's not. And so it's hard, I have to really build that muscle, that capacity to receive no's. So that's your mission, really work on that, receiving no's. Ted, let's play. I saw you wrote, I find that my corporate clients are not as committed to the work as my private clients. My stories, they do not have skin in the game and take it less seriously. I'm open to other stories. I think it's a reasonable story. Tell me about your corporate clients. Who pays the fee for them?
Their corporation pays.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out these two guys are at the same place.
Yep.
One referred the other. And I've worked with both of them for 6 months and coming to a close. And both of them, where my private clients will never miss a session or, you know, hurry to make it up. These clients will go for weeks and I'm calling them saying, hey, buddy, you know, you still there?
Okay. So don't do that. Stop it moment. Thanks for posting the video, a couple of you. It's Bob Newhart in that sketch, Stop It. Yeah, stop that. Here's what you want to do is—
Wait, stop which part?
The calling them when they don't show up.
Okay.
In that moment, you become, this may just be me, Ted, but in my dating days, I remember when I was interested in a girl, I say that because it was back when I was a kid, and I'd call her and we'd have a chat and we'd talk, and then I'd call her again the next day when she said, let's talk, and she wouldn't call back, and I'd call her again and I'd call her again, and like, don't be that guy.
Okay.
It's more about your agreements that you create at the start of your coaching. You want to create really strong, firm agreements. Have you listened to the audio by Steve Chandler, Expectations versus Agreements?
I don't think, certainly not recently, no.
Monique, I just saw you put your thumb up. Do you have the link to that? Because I think we've shared it in the past. Okay, Monique's going to post the link in here.
Hang on a minute. I don't know how to do that, but you actually posted it on my request, Rich. I asked for it in the RLI app, and you replied to it, and you put the link in there, so anybody can get it from there.
Okay, so it's in the app. It's one of the more recent posts because it was after we'd finished, and it's a box, box.net. Ted, just shoot me a note if you don't get it, and I'll send it to you. But Steve talks about, so I got the distinction from in the first place. most people live in a world of expectations. You are living in a world of expectations. You expect your clients to show up every week. They don't expect that. That's why they don't show up. One of the things I would do is the next time a corporation calls you in is to have this very clear. Look, here's what I need you guys to know. I love working with high-level leaders in organizations like yours. And I have to draw out a sense of the kind of commitment that my clients who are paying $10,000, $20,000 a year to work with me bring. Here's how we do that. I create really strong, clear agreements with the client. And the client is not you whilst you're paying the fee. The client is the person in the room. So I'm going to have a conversation with them and get really clear about what the agreements are, what the agreement is around missing a session. For example, if you miss a session and you haven't let me know in advance, your session is gone. And if you miss 2 sessions in a row without letting me know, our coaching is complete. And the company still pays the entire fee. So I'm making that up because I tend not to work in the corporate world, because my experience was that when I work with people in the corporate world, the most common thing that would happen is they'd quit. And they tend not to be my people. I work with the leader of the organization, but create something that brings out a real sense of powerful commitment from them. And have it be that something that's really clear and open with the person paying the fee as well as the person getting the coaching.
Yeah. So my coaching agreement with them is very strong, and it's very much based on those agreements. And I think
Can I tell you something I already know?
Yeah.
Your coaching agreement is not very strong.
I think my misstep is not going back to it, just filing it away.
I'm being a bit high flame in the way I say that. But what I mean is, if it was a strong agreement, they'd keep to it. If they don't keep to it, it's not a strong agreement. So yeah, one thing you can do is go back to it the first moment it happens. So I'll stop talking now, but that's why I'm challenging you a little bit on that phrase that it's strong. It sounds strong. It's not strong until it's reinforced. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, I think that was it.
All right. Yeah. I acknowledge I cut you off, but I wanted to be a bit high flame on that one.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
All right. Let me scroll down and see what we've got here, you guys. Jessica, are you there? Give me a wave, Jessica. Hey, Jessica. So Jessica, you say, I want to coach teens and make a real difference to their lives. The challenge is their parents will pay for it. It's a very similar challenge to what Ted has, and it's a very unique challenge because you've got teenagers. So although I'd like to connect with the teens, I assume I need to connect with the parents first. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the parents have to be your clients.
Yeah.
And I'd say the same thing. You have to create such a strong agreement with the child and with the parent. And it's a very unique relationship you're creating there, very unique coaching relationship. So I haven't done that myself. I've coached clients who do that over the past. It's been difficult for them. It's been difficult. Yeah. You want to speak to the parents first to enroll them. Then you've got to have a session with the child. You've got to have agreements like, are you going to, is confidentiality absolute? You don't share anything with the parent, but then you have a duty of care. There's a lot of complexity that goes with that.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's a good place to start, because it's such a triangle. So it's kind of, it's something I'm really passionate about, but I wonder if this is really good place for me to start, because my coaching journey is still, in the beginning. So I wonder, like you're saying, if I just put more complexity on my shoulders than I really need to right now.
It might be. Tell me, do you need a client tomorrow? Is this your business now? I've got to make money in coaching right now. No. That's great, because now you can experiment. If you want to work with teens, probably workshops of some kind is a great way to start working with them. Whether that's going to schools or going to other places, youth clubs. It's a great way. If you want to give back to teens, create some workshops and go and offer it in different places. And then if you want to have coaching clients, that's something separate. I'd separate them out for a moment. Yeah.
No, I think it's a good idea to just start with groups and get my hands dirty there and see what happens.
Yeah, and find out what are the challenges they're facing, and are there things that coaching would really be useful for? Are teens open to coaching? And you'll find that out as you go into work with them.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that, Rich.
Thank you. Let me see what else I've got. Some of you guys are writing long posts. It's a little bit hard for me to read what you're saying. So thank you for your patience. Oh, Ravia. That's a great little question. Where's Ravia? Give me a wave so I can find you. Keep waving because you might be on my other screen.
Wait, I'm not on video. I'm just on audio.
Ah, okay. All right.
I was just being facetious about, you know, what's the difference between coffee and coaching? Because if I feel like if you want someone to experience what you're like, you need to ask them for permission and then let them experience what you're like. You know, there's no differentiation between having a coffee and having a coaching conversation if it's all going to lead to coaching. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading.
No, it's a great question. I like it. What time zone is it where you are right now? What's the time for you?
It's 1 p.m. And that, by the way, was not my question. It was Holly's question, and I was responding to her. So just so you know, that's
okay. But it's a great distinction, and it's an important one. It's the difference between being a professional coach and a social coach. And too many people drop into being a social coach. Let's go for a coffee. Let's have a chat. And they don't mean that. So when someone says to me, can I have a chat with you, Rich, about coaching? I'm really clear. I say, no, I don't do chats. If you want to have a powerful experience of this thing that I call coaching, let's block out a couple of hours. Let's go somewhere really private, and I'll bring everything I do. Being a professional coach is like the distinction between you're at a party and you meet someone who says they're what do they call it, an orthopedic surgeon, and you say, well, I've got these problems with my back. We take a look at my back. They don't go, yeah, sure, lie on the couch. Let's go for coffee tomorrow and have a chat. They say, sure, book an appointment. Here's my office number. That's why I like that distinction. So that's what I'm referring to, Ravia. It's a great one to bring in. And it's an important one for lots of us to get, because we think, well, I'll have coffee and I'll get to know them and then we'll become a client. And it doesn't work that way. That's actually a needy way to play. Be firm and strong in what you're creating.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dominique, will you give me a wave? Are you still here? Oh, there you go. Hey, just being on the call makes me emotional. Giovanna challenged me not to do anything other than what was on my calendar before the salon starts. I'm really struggling. I want to trust the process. I know I can do so much. I'm creating community, getting out there, connecting, but I never feel like it's enough. And I'm not getting paid for it, so I panic. Who else has a feeling of, I'm never doing enough, there's always so much more I should be doing or ought to be doing? My hand is raised. Who else has that one? There's so much more. Yeah. And one of the reasons, thank you for being so authentic about that, Dominique, is that you're not alone. We teach what we most need to learn very often. One of the reasons I'm so often teaching slow down to speed up is because I'm caught in this treadmill of like never stopping, never being able to cease. So how can I support you in this moment?
I don't know. I feel like I want to trust the process. I want to wait. I just can't do it. And I end up doing things that don't make a difference or that are not going to bring me the things I really want. It's like, I feel like I'm just doing things to do things, you know, and I started...
Give me some context, will you? Like, are you new to coaching?
No, not completely new, about a year and a half.
Are you a full-time professional coach? Do you
full-time, and yeah, about a year. And I also run workshops.
Great.
So yeah.
Between the workshops and the private clients, do you make enough income to pay your expenses?
The workshops have just really started, and so yes, I do.
So I have a very profound and professional word I want to use. Yippee! Really, you guys need to understand like how unique that makes you. Most coaches on the planet are making 20 grand a year or less. I'd say these days most coaches are making around 10 grand. They're doing it part-time. Even a lot of the ones who post online about how to build their business are struggling. So that you're doing that is awesome. I really want you to take that in for a second. Because we live in this place of, and Facebook's insidious for this, because we're comparing ourselves with everyone else out there. And you know what? You're not really comparing, you're comparing yourself with what they want you to know about them. Right. And then what's really going on. So Dominique, that's amazing. Really amazing.
Thank you.
How can I support you in this moment knowing that? What do you want to create next?
I think I'm good. I think I just need to trust the process, and I'm kind of, I was writing to Joe Marcus, we're both on the salon, and I was saying I can't wait to start, and I feel like, okay, just need that focus time through the salon. So thank you for saying that I'm good, and I'm gonna leave the time for someone else. And
yeah, no, it's this salon's like the gym. You know, we all want a six pack or to be stronger or whatever it is, or be fitter, and then we want it to happen like that, and it doesn't work that way. You have to spend months, if not years, working out. I see Ricky nodding. Look, he's a world-class martial artist. Right? That's how this game works. And yet we come into the dojo with our white belt and we compare ourselves to the black belts. And either, because I've got a little bit of experience doing martial arts, either, this is what used to happen to me, Ricky, I'd very quickly start getting cocky. Like, oh, I've got this thing now, like 6 weeks of doing karate and now I've got this. Or I'd feel less than because I'm comparing myself to all the others. And those are human responses. And the salon's like the dojo. There's no theory. You come in week after week and you say, hey, I spoke to this client. This is what happened. Someone just fired me. Someone just hired me. This is my agreement, but it's not working. Who's got the dogs? That's beautiful seeing the dogs there. And it's your dojo or it's your gym. And so I know why Giovanna said slow down. I love that you've got it in this moment.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right, let's see. I'll take a couple more. Is there someone right now, rather than me looking through, is there someone, give me a wave. There's something like, oh, I'd love to be coached on this. Yeah, I see you got your hand up and the no names have come up. So can you remind me of your name?
Hey, it's Dave. I was on mute when you first hit my thing on the first one.
Hey, Dave. Dave, how can I coach you?
Great. So, one of the, I guess it's a good thing. When I go to a conference, there's 3,000 to 4,000 people. It's about every 4 months, and I get to set up a table. So it says Dave Mitchell Coaching, and then people come up and they talk and they fill out a card. But I can walk away with 30 to 70, basically pretty good leads. Now, granted, some of those are high school students, some of those, but so I just wanted to ask you, because I've never heard that discussed, or like kind of it's really all my ideal people too. It's not just a hodgepodge. It's really the people I want to serve. So I just wanted to get some coaching on just if you'd ever heard of that or been that in yourself, where you've actually just showed up kind of, at a table with prospective clients just stopping by and speaking, and kind of how to maximize that, or just how to be in that moment.
Well, I love it. It's unique. And we didn't get a chance to share this story at the intensive, but Daniel Tyler Ponke tells a great story that about a few years ago, his wife, as a gift for his birthday, gave him a lot of different experiences. And one of these experiences was she told him to go down to the ocean, take this bottle, write a message, put the message in the bottle, and throw the message into the ocean. So he threw his bottle into the ocean. 3 years later on Instagram, he got tagged in a post because someone had found the bottle a year after he threw it into the ocean. For 2 years, she'd have it on her desk. And in the bottle was a message where Danny was saying about who he is, what he does, and his contact details. And so she tagged him, just this, how incredible this was. They started a conversation and she became a client. And I wanted to tell that story. There wasn't time, or we ran out at the end of the intensive, just to say, like, whatever all the stuff is and how you're supposed to get clients, you could throw a bottle in the ocean and get a client 3 years later. So I love it. You're trying something new.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about is if you're getting 70 people who are signing this thing and saying, I want to coach with you, I'd say you need a better filter. Because you've got to give up time now for 70 hours or 100 hours of coaching people who may not be dream clients at all. And so having some kind of questionnaire or scorecard that they can fill in, you say, hey, I love to work with extraordinary people. Here's my scorecard, which will be an assessment of, and then whatever you're up to in the world. What's the difference you make, Dave? What's the thing that you do in the world? That's a question from me right now. Like, what is the thing that you love to coach around?
So it's called the Joyful Life, right? So it's for highly successful people who thought once they reached that success, everything would be really great. They'd be so enjoying life, but they've actually found the opposite, you know, way more stress than they bargained for, and they're not finding that contentment and that joy. And
Right.
so that I help them to, you know, kind of preload the joy and live their life with, you know, hands up on a roller coaster kind of thing.
That's beautiful. That's a great description. Immediately, I know there's any teenagers who are signing up for this, they're in the wrong place, right? They shouldn't. You've got to have a filter. So,
right.
Here's my invitation: come up with 10 questions where, if I say yes to 8 or more of these questions, I'm a dream client. If I say yes to 5 to 7, you'll point me to a book or a resource. And if I say yes to less than 5, like, I'm not the guy for you. And it's a beautiful way. It's just 10 little questions. Like, hey, come and do. I've got a questionnaire. That's the I can't think of a clever title in this moment, but the something or other questionnaire. This is the something or other assessment that your clients can, worth all of you thinking about doing that, some kind of assessment for your dream clients. If it's time, like it is for Dave, to bring a filter in.
What's interesting, you were talking about the menu before. So even though, like, when I had the 70, about 40 of them became actual, like 30 of them I never got in touch with or never got back to me. 40 of them had the coaching, and I got 5 clients, but 8 mastermind group people.
Nice.
So it's funny how, like, the people who don't, like you said, like even the college students will join the mastermind group because that's like $175. So it's, like you said, I think the menu of options that I provide can help scoop up some of those people. And like you said, then 1 or 2 of them will become clients eventually out of the mastermind group. So
group coaching is a great way to give people an easy way to say yes to you.
Yeah.
So I love that you're doing that.
And I just want to give you credit, because I just think, you know what, just serve these people, because they're going to grow up and become lawyers and doctors. And if I serve them now, like it's like 3 years away, but just maybe they'll never forget that conversation. So I want to thank you for that, because
I love
it
that.
really helps my thinking.
If you have the space and the bandwidth to do that, that's beautiful. And I really believe that you put energy out in the world, it comes back to you.
Yeah.
You can't hope it will come back from the person you're talking to that feels needy, but it comes back. And you never know, that child is sitting in as an intern in an office a year later and says to the CEO, you know, I know someone who coaches people like you, and the client comes years later from that person. That's
right. Awesome. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you to Louisa, who posted the box.com link for agreements versus expectations. It's here in the chat. If you guys scroll up a few from the bottom, you'll see that. If anyone wants to get that audio, it's Steve Chandler talking about agreements versus expectations. Ted, you see it? Yeah, cool. I'm going to pause in this moment, guys. Oh, Daniel, I saw that you're on. I don't see your photo. I just shared your story about the bottle. So if you heard that, that's cool.
I got it.
Yeah. You know, I'm so glad we finally got a chance to share it. There just wasn't a moment there. So
I know. Yeah, there wasn't a moment at the intensive, but yeah.
Yeah,
but there was just one small distinction. There was no contact details. It just had a phrase. It was just like, repair your own mind for the sake of her kind. And she researched that phrase and found it in Google, and that's what led her to me.
Wow. I love it. It's a great way to get us out of our stories about how to get clients.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm going to pause in this moment, guys. I'm going to wrap in about 60 seconds. We started with this idea that the context is life. And life looks like this. It has ups and downs. I think the only thing we can do over time is to take those ups and downs, and if that was the line they go on, is to lift the line up. So the ups and downs are slowly sloping upwards. And there'll come a moment when you're in a down moment over here, but you'll look back and realize, oh, my downs today are so much higher than my ups used to be back then. That's the only game we can play. So I love that you're still here. You're still staying connected. I love that you're playing this game. You want to come and play with us some more? We'll be in San Diego in April. I can't even think of the dates right now. We'll be in San Diego in April. First time we've ever done an intensive there. We have a very specific mission. Create one client, that you create a single powerful client out of that intensive. I'm looking forward to that one. And come and play with us in other ways if you'd like to. We've got lots of ways we can serve you. If nothing else, email Laura on my team and say, can I get on a call with Giovanna to look at my coaching journey? And we'll really serve you in helping out, working out what your next steps are. I love you, gang. I'll see you when I see you next. Bye for now.
Bye, Rich. Thank you.
Yeah, turn off your phones for a second. Turn off mute and just say, send some energy out this way. It feels good.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks.
Look forward to April.
Lovely to see everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Litvin, love you.
Thank you.
That feels
Awesome.